YouTube. Hold on, let me get TikTok set up while I'm over here just. All right. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Let me get my notebook. Hey y'all. Happy Thursday. Woo. Hold on. Sorry, I wanted to hop on for today so I can kind of get things moving. Hey love. Oh, hi Joe. Let me hold on, let me make you a moderator real quick. Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Thank you. Hey, baby moon. Hey, memory. Hey, Ashanti. Sorry, y'all, I'm in the middle of eating my breakfast. I also was in the middle of doing some protection work because somebody been sending me negative energy. Why would you be sending me negative energy? I have been a little rare lately though, so I get it. You know, it might be justified. But I hope you're ready because my people do not play that. So yesterday I was laying in the bed and I didn't get no sleep last night. The reason why I didn't get no sleep last night because I was laying in the bed and I'm turned on my side. I'm scrolling. Something crawls over me. So I jump up. You know, I'm in a panic. I get out the motherfucking bed. It's a fucking spider, big as my motherfucking head. So I sleep with the lights on last night. I couldn't even get no good rest because I was like, oh no. Hold on, J-Lo, let me make you a moderator. Thank you. Appreciate it. I'm gonna show y'all this spider because it's very much so a cousin of a tarantula. Because baby, I'm gonna jump out my fucking skin, especially when it start running. I'm like, why the fuck are your legs so long? Like it was big, and it was one of those brown ones too. So, child, I couldn't sleep for the rest of the night because anything that touched me, I assumed that it was a spider, and I know that it is not a spider. I was just like, if there's one spider, there's a colony. There has to be a colony. So I didn't go to sleep. I had to turn the fucking lights on. Then I go get my cat for backup, right? Because cats, pest control. I don't know. I thought that was a part of the job. I go get her. I try to get her to see the fucking spider. She keep running past that shit, getting super close to it. And I'm like, oh my God, she's going to get bitten by a spider. And so I had to worry about that. And so I kept trying to like hit the spider to get the spider to move. The spider wouldn't move. I didn't know that I broke the spider leg when it was all up on me. Why was you that close? You know, because I would have let the spider live. No, I wouldn't have. That was a lie. It was going to die regardless. You know, but I've been trying to like decondition myself around spiders because I'm terrified of them. Maybe it was radioactive. I don't know. They don't be no help. Yeah, and I'm like trying to show her the fucking spider. You want to chase everything else around this bitch. Why don't you kill this motherfucking spider? She would not kill it. And then, so I end up killing the spider because I couldn't sleep in my room. We can't both be here. Like, we can't both be here. If you hear how I'm going to be here, you know? And so I had to go ahead and kill the spider, right? I killed a spider. Then she walks up to the spot where the spider got hit and she starts sniffing it. Girl, if you don't get out of my face, because now I'm about to put you out. So then I rolled, like I checked the whole bed because that shit fucked me up. Like I checked the whole bed. I was Google searching. I was all kind of shit because it just frazzled me. And I turned the light on and it was like 5 flies on the top of my fucking roof. And so I said, oh, somebody is sending me negative energy. Now I'm gonna have to get in your ass. I hope you don't need it because I'm about to wear that ass out. But anyways, hey y'all, happy Thursday. I'm running on fumes because I just didn't sleep well. Be fearless in every way. Yeah, I be trying, but I'm a work in progress. So yeah, I'm scared about me too. And I've been trying to be different, like because I even went to go get a water bottle because I was just gonna catch it. I was just gonna catch it. Then I said, why would I do that? Because that would require me to get super close to it. And if that motherfucker start moving and I'm right there, I'm just gonna abandon shit. So I was just like, yeah, you're not even like that. Let's not even pretend. Are you gonna save the bug? See, yes, it's still sitting there because I need to put it on. I need to put it on a napkin or something. But I was gonna use it in the protection spell. But we gonna see. Spiders are creators, so there's that symbolism. Yeah, they are, and spiritual protection and all of those things. So yeah, that was spooky, very spooky. And I got a stalker at my gym. He been stalking me for a while since the moment I got to the gym. And here I go, trying to be nice. You know, he a little odd. You know, he's a little odd. But when he seen me, he was like enamored by me. I'm not shocked by that because I do a lot of like attraction work. Like I expect myself to be magnetic. I expect myself to be attractive. So it's not out of the ordinary that people kind of like flock to me. And so I think the soccer reminded me of a song I wanted to listen to. Thank you. You're welcome, girl. But he like a what's them people who is all over LA? Armenian. He like an Armenian man. So he come up to me telling me I'm beautiful, all these things. And he like asking for my number. I say no, but you know, men just don't know how to take no for an answer. And this has happened multiple times in the last week that men just don't understand a no. And so I was just like, all right, I'll just give him my number and block him. And so he texts me, but he texts me something really nice. So I was like, oh, okay, like maybe we could just be friends. But I let him know up front, even while we were standing there before I handed him over my number, I am not interested. I'm not interested in men. I can't stand you motherfuckers. Not right now. I might be a praying mantis and rip your motherfucking head off just because you existing in the same space as me. You know, I told him like straight off the bat, right? And he like, okay, no, we could be friends. That men are liars. Men are liars. And so I'm like, okay. I get home, and this motherfucker gonna say, he asked me out like what I like to do or da. And I was like, sorry, I'm in the middle of eating. But he asked me what I like to do. I tell him. And then he texted me again, but I was telling him it was the day that I was opening my soul school. And so I was like, hey, I'm about to have a really busy day because I'm opening up my soul school. I'm a communicator. I told him that. He texted me. I didn't respond because I didn't see it. He texted me again, like, hello, question mark. That's way too controlling for me already. I'm not about to deal with that. And it was a matter of like 40 minutes. Relax. And so I said something to him. And he gonna say, all right, cool. Well, how much is it? How much is what? I said, ain't shit for sale over here. I don't know what you're talking about. He was like, well, I like big, beautiful black women. I don't give a fuck what you like, bitch. What the fuck are you talking about? You think and that's how I know that people in LA are prostitutes. Some of the girls in LA are prostituting, right? And then he gonna say, I give you 200 for 15 minutes. Bitch, are you okay? Are you okay up there? $200 for 15, bitch? And you're not even gonna last more than 15, please. Sell that shit up the river. I can do better than that, you know? So I cussed his ass out because I'm not a loving like girly. I'm more of a, you get on my fucking nerves, I'm gonna cuss your ass out girly, you know? And so I cussed his ass out, right? I told him to leave me alone, I did not block him initially because, again, I was having a busy fucking day. And so I don't block this man. I see him at the gym the next day. He don't say nothing to me, but I also do not look approachable. I look very much so like the bitch that I was, you know? And so I'm doing my workout whenever I see him, but I kind of just like look at him like I ought to just knock your motherfucking head with one of these weights, but I didn't because class, you know? So I do my workout. I leave the gym. Y'all, before I even hit the door to exit the gym, this man is texting me. I'll give you more. Just let me know how much. Blocked. Blocked. He lucky I ain't put his ass in my shoe and 8-town stump on his ass. But instead, I did a banishment. Right? Because that day, everything started going wrong. And what y'all don't understand is when everything is cool and then all of a sudden shit start falling apart and it's dumb shit, like you catch your fucking shirt on the door, you carrying a case of water and all the fucking waters fall out, like shit like that. That's somebody sending you fucking energy. That's somebody sending you energy. Them flies start coming out of it. That's somebody sending you energy. And so I had to go ahead and banish his ass. I ain't seen his ass in 6 weeks. But in these last 2 days, I've seen him twice. And so I was working out today and he was just peering. When I say this man's gaze is lethal, I can, every single time he looks at me, I can feel it instantaneously. And so I might have to 8-town stump on his ass. Because I don't like that. Leave me alone. How do you get rid of? I don't. I alchemize it. I don't get rid of no energy. You send energy my way, that's mine. Give me that. So no, I don't send it back unless they have intentions, like malicious intent to hurt me. Because we send energy all the time. Meaning like somebody can piss you off and you sending them energy. Like we send energy all the time. We create energy all the time. We just don't realize that we're doing it. And so if it's not consciously, you know, I'm cool with it. I'll alchemize it. But if you intended malice, if you intended to harm me, that's your ass, Mr. Postman. And I don't hold back. Because you swing at me, you better land that bitch. So yeah. So in about 2 hours, we hit the Saturn hour, and it's on Jupiter day. So I'll be off of here because I gotta be over there. But anyways, sorry, let me read some of y'all comments because I was just yapping for a second. Oh, y'all, my school opens in September. Like the applications for my school opens in September. That's where I teach magic, or really, I'm a conjure woman, and there's a difference between conjure and root work. But I've been a conjure woman in several lives, so I kind of just have like innate knowledge. But yeah, in my school though, like the first step in you getting safe in your body is you also building a relationship with the earth. Yeah, hoodoo. You building a relationship with the earth. I really don't even like labels though, to be honest, because I think that the way that I see stuff is so different because I have the information and I have the intuition. So I feel like I be operating from a different place than most people. And I think your intention is so important when you're working with the roots, you know? So I don't even want to label it hoodoo, but I pay reverence to hoodoo and my ancestors who did hoodoo. You know, I pay reverence to that. Also voodoo as well. I pay reverence to that. And I think a lot of what I practice is very much so entangled in that, but I kind of create my own system because I'm somebody who I see synchronisms in everything. And I don't feel like I'm supposed to be labeling myself something because I think that we actually are creating something new. Like we're creating a new energy right now. Not to say that the old systems are wrong or any of that, because I still talk to some of them deities and stuff like that because I do hoodoo, you know, but I don't really like the label of that because the way that spirit be giving me stuff is just so a balance between the both of the things, you know. But yeah, but when you talk about getting back into community with your body is earth. Like you are literally earth in motion. And so you need to be engaging with earth in the same way you engage with your body. How you build an intimate relationship with yourself, you also need to be building an intimate relationship with earth as well. And so you're no different than the plants. You're just another form of her own consciousness, you know? And so I pay reverence to the mother goddess, which is the goddess energy that we all come from. You know, whether you want to believe it or not, source energy is feminine. You know, it's mainly feminine. The masculine energy exists inside of it, but it's only 10%. The 90% is a feminine energy, you know? And so we got disconnected from the goddess energy. And I will say what I have been learning from her and what I have been learning from my eternal self, which I really think are the same thing, is that we kind of created this chaos. We did, as the goddesses, right? Because I've been kind of like talking to them, and I know if y'all been on my previous lives, I was kind of talking about feeling like women were here first and all of this stuff. Yeah. So that is actually true. But when the men were created, because we created them, right? When they were created from a fragmentation within us, initially, we didn't pay reverence to our creation. And you got to understand, whatever it is that you create, you have to protect. You have to protect it. And you cannot create it in an unequal way. It has to be equal to you. It needs to be created in your image. Whatever you can do, it should be able to do. Right? That's the whole dilemma we having right now with the Pleiadians, because they genetically modified us and then they left us to fend for ourselves. So now they can't evolve until we evolve. Right? So a lot of eyes are on Earth is because they left us behind. You know, and so now they got to come fix their shit because they are living in the future and they shit is in calamity because they left us behind. You cannot, and when I say left us behind, they shut down our chakra systems. They disabled us. They cannot do that because whatever you create has to be made in your likeness, in God's image. You are the God that's creating it, you know? And so what we did was we had a bunch of like, in the matriarchy, right? The focus was around children and women, right? And so we would just pass men around like fucking hot potatoes and use them for sex. Y'all don't even we're going to talk about sex in deep detail because we don't understand what sex is. Like, that is a very sacred act, and it is a way for you to manifest things into your life. It's a way for you to act as the creator, right? Because you can physically create a baby, but you also can use that to create potential, create energy, right? And so what we would do is just pass the men around, but we had no reverence for them. It was like they didn't mean shit to us, you know? And so eventually the men got mad, and that's what led us to where we are now, right? And so talking to the mother goddess, she talks about it kind of being like our karma for the way that we did not pay reverence for our creation, you know? And then they get mad at us, they enslave us, and then because they need karma too, then the white men come in and they enslave them. So it's just kind of like everybody hates their creator in this reality because we did not pay reverence when we should have paid reverence, you know? And so we have to find a way back to paying reverence for everything, like understanding that everything is equal, everything is necessary. See, and they're going to fly right down. I keep telling y'all, I will unalive you in here. You might as well hit that motherfucking door. My bad. But we need to pay reverence to everything, you know? And I think that's a struggle because I think a lot of women right now are angry with men because of what has been done, you know? And the mother goddess kind of had to let that happen because we're in a free will zone, you know? And so we needed to go through our own evolutionary cycle and pay for the consequences of our own actions. Same for them, you know? And so we finishing off the cycles. So hopefully we can come back into this unified place because we are creating a new energy, which is going to pull us out of this density. But not all of us are going to be able to go because not everybody's going to choose that. But I think the choosing comes in the next 7 or 8 years, like 2033 or something like that. Because that's when the rose grids actually stabilize. So we got to reconnect with the mother goddess because that is who created everything in existence, right? And we used to, back in the day, when it was a matriarchy or matrilineal society, we used to pay reverence to Earth. She, as the mother goddess, we used to pay reverence to her roots and to, because the reason why I say in the Bible that you get, like, she bears all the fruit, everything you need, you can get it from Earth. Yes, like she is a resource that keeps giving. You know, she's very abundant because you are abundant. And so I'm trying to help through my embodiment school to help us reconnect with our body, but our body is earth. It is made of earth energy. Our awareness is star energy. Our body itself, though, is earth. That's why we cannot take it with us. You know, it's left here, put in the dirt, right? It has to go back to her because it's something we're borrowing. It's just like the vehicle we use, but you're not your body, you know? But while you're in this body is a sacred temple, and you need to treat it as such. You need to pay reverence to the energy that created it, which is the mother goddess earth. For all of us too, because everybody has access to the mother goddess energy, even males, you know, because there's no difference between us, you know. And so what I'm trying to do is teach us how to embody our light again. And so through my school, which is named Makara, I take you through something I call the priestess path. And the priestess path is a 3-year program. The first year is about understanding the elements within the body, emotional alchemy, stuff like that. Then we move into mirroring and shadow work. And then towards the end, we're doing healing, you know, using herbs and stuff, petitioning herbs and stuff for healing. And the second year is about understanding energy from a mechanical standpoint, like from an information standpoint, and then psychic development. And then the third year is mentorship, while you build based off of your new truth, you know? And so applications for that are going to open in September, which is going to be interesting, which is going to be fun, which I'm excited about. Because right now we have a full class, and we meet every Wednesday and Friday at 5:00 for about an hour and a half. And it's been going great. Like, we are moving into month 4 right now. And it's a 9-month program, 9 months on, 3 months off. And then during the month, it's 3 weeks on, 1 week off. But it's been perfect. Like, we did some mirroring exercises yesterday, and we were just kind of like going through abandonment wounds. And so I gave them some homework, and then we talked about it. And then I pointed out certain wounds and certain responses and stuff like that. It was really, really fun. So yeah. I'm excited about that, the embodiment part, but I'm also teaching people how to take back their authority. Hold on, let me chew this, and then I'm going to tell you what I mean. Let me tell you something about food. I love you, girl. The Moody Vegan, if y'all in LA, the Moody Vegan, they breakfast burritos. And this is a lavender mint tea. All right. What I was about to say was, wait, what was I about to say? I got lost in the pleasure of that. Hold on. It's something important. Give me a second. Oh, yeah. Children are the future. Children are a lot more spiritually in tune than we are. And children are children. So, you know, they don't really even open up to the authority. Thank you. They don't really open up into the spirit until they 25 anyway. To the spiritual world until they 25 anyway. But I kept getting a message today, and I blocked somebody because I just don't even pay. I don't give people my energy. I'll just block you if you get on my nerves. But somebody earlier today was like, who do you pray to? Period. And I was like, oh, I'm not religious. And she's like, I'm not either, but that wasn't my question. Blocked. Hold your fucking horses. I be thinking that, you know, those of y'all who grew up on the internet, y'all be having all the balls in the motherfucking world, but you would not be on that if you saw me in person. That'd be pissing me off real bad. Because why do you act like that? Because if you came in my face and you said that to me in my face, you'd be shitting teeth for the next 36 hours. Why the fuck do y'all act like that? Millennials don't play like that. So she got her ass blocked. She created another page just to ask me the same question, bitch. I blocked that one too, ho. Because you ain't nickel slick. I'm a medium. I see you, ho. That pissed me off. But I don't want to talk about that, though. You know, had she had a little bit more grace or just anything, we could have had a conversation about it. But I'm going to have a conversation with y'all about it, though. I don't pray, okay? Because praying is the etymology of that word, which is the feminine. The etymology of a word is feminine. The definition is masculine, okay? I always go to the etymology of a word because it's important. You want to know the origin of a word, okay? To pray means to beg. Praying is a thing of hierarchy. And so when you pray, it's because you're looking for a savior. you think that there's a being that's higher than you that can grant you a wish of some sorts, right? But when you pray, that has no authority. Okay. I don't pray, I petition, right? Because I am looking to enter into a sacred exchange with an energy that is just as equal as I am. And so it's kind of like trading and bartering, but with spirits. Just like you have, because a spirit is just a mind without a body. You know, so when you pass on, you will become a spirit in your same personality, in your same essence, everything. You know, people think that people die and they get fucking angel wings. No, it doesn't work like that. They're the same motherfucker that they was when they was here. Y'all granddaddies is still drinking 40s on the porch. You know, they just doing it in the astral plane. And so I don't pray to anybody. I petition spirits to work in community with them. I build relationships that are mutually beneficial. You know, and so most people be wondering why they affirmations don't work, they spells don't work, they whatever don't work, is because you are begging a spirit to do the work for you because you're not actually doing the work in the physical realm, right? Okay, praying is begging for something outside of you to do the work so that it's spiritual bypassing. You know, because I still got to do my work. Once I do this protection work, I still got to make sure that I'm protected. You know? So I still got to do the stuff on my side. And so I petition, I command, I invoke, but I don't pray to anybody because I don't think that there's a being that's higher than me. The only being I see is higher than me is the mother goddess, and I am made in her likeness. And so I am a full aspect of her, not even a piece. It's like the ocean, and you take a cup and you dip that cup in the ocean, it's still the same motherfucking ocean, right? I pay reverence to everything. I'm devoted to everything. But when I'm petitioning, I'm giving you something, you're giving me something. I'm making you an offering, you're doing work for me. And we build a relationship together. And now we work together on specific things. Anytime I want to use protection, I use this herb, and that root. Why? Because I got a relationship with them. They said they'll protect me if I'm making them an offering. And so the spell itself is not what gets you the thing. The spell is the offering to the root, to the spirit. That's the offering. Does that make sense? So religiously speaking, praying is a religious thing. It is a thing of hierarchy. There is no hierarchy in my eyes. I'm just, because everything in this reality is built on contracts. It's built on covenants. It's built on relationship building, right? And so to me, I'm not begging anybody for anything because I don't think there's a power outside of me. I'm asking you to help move things in the spirit, and I help move things for you in the physical. I give you energy from the physical, you give me energy from the spiritual. Okay? And so it's petition. It's a petition. It's a contract. It's an agreement. It's an understanding. You know, and I pay reverence to you because I appreciate the help that you've given me because I can't see in the spiritual realm. You know? And so it's a sacred exchange. Thank you. And that's why the exchange is called sacred. The only form of sacred exchange we understand is money. Money is the illusion of sacred exchange because money don't have shit backing it. Money is an empty fucking currency. It actually say on it that it's a debt instrument. It used to be backed by gold. They lost the gold. No, the fuck they didn't. Y'all don't understand how powerful gold is. They didn't lose that motherfucking gold. They're hoarding it. They're hoarding it because gold contains wisdom. That's where they put all the wisdom in the gold, right? And so money ain't backed by anything. And so we in this exchange that's one-sided. We're not giving them anything of value, but we're getting something in return. You know, like it's not anything of value. We think we getting something in return, but we're not. And so it's relationship building with spirits and with living people. Everything is that. You got to know your worth when you coming into the spiritual realm, because if you don't know your worth, they're going to hand you your fucking ass. Because you got to think too, that the way that we look at good and bad, that's a Christian thing. That didn't come around into the 17th, 18th century. Before that, there was no concept of good or bad, right? Everybody just did what they did. You need to use both your hands. the left and the right. You need to use both your hands. You're ambidextrous. You need to use both your sides, spirit, light, and dark. You need both. You need a balance between both. You know? And so there was no good or bad. That's new shit. That's shit that was given to you by patriarchy, because if they can get you to think that there's one truth and not multiple truths that exist, because that's really what that is. There's only one truth that exists. They can shame you when you don't do it they fucking way. You know? So a lot of what they did was to disembody you. It's to stop you. It was to control your truth. Because if they can control your truth, they can control you. If they can control your worth, they can control you. And so they tie your worth to money, an empty fucking system that's not giving you anything back. Why? Because it keeps you fucking broke. It keeps you chasing the money that don't have no fucking value. It keeps you chasing something outside of you that has no value, and you placed your fucking value onto it. And now if they control the money, they control your value. That's some bullshit. We got to unpack all that shit. You don't need to pray to nobody. If you're going to pray, pray to yourself. Pray to your higher self. Pray to your truth. But pray in authority. Know your worth. Because if you don't know your worth, these spirits is not going to fuck with you. And a lot of them like trickster energy. A lot of them like to play in trickster energy. You know? And so if you don't know your fucking worth, you're an easy lick. You do not want to be over there and be an easy motherfucking lick. You need to set clear parameters, clear intentions. You need to have your ancestors in place. You need an ancestor. The shit you asking these bigger spirits, you need an ancestor in place for all of that shit. You need an ancestor for protection. You need an ancestor for compassion. Because I need an ancestor for compassion, baby. Because compassion be running away from me sometimes. I think I'm just a little too tired. You know? For compassion, you need an ancestor for everything. Don't bypass your ancestors. But also, when you working with roots, don't bypass the spirit of the root. You know, some of y'all will make an offering to a deity and never say nothing about the roots y'all using to make the offering. You know, like it's an etiquette. It's an etiquette. But you got to learn that, you know, like you learn through experience. So you got to be willing to try. Just how you had experiences when you were a kid that kind of fucked you up, you got to have them in spirit too. I call on ancestors seen and unseen, known and unknown, who want to see me complete my oversoul mission, or want to see me enter into my highest timeline, who want to help me with my work. Like I'm very specific about it. Like if you don't want to be disturbed, I won't disturb you, because I got ancestors that just don't give a fuck. They don't want to be disturbed. And that's that, you know. I also got ancestors that are white too. And so, I was going to tell y'all this story. So yesterday I was channeling, y'all. Hold on. Let me see if I can find this real quick. Boop, 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 boop. Okay, hold on. 1600 to 1700. Hold on. So I got an ancestor, and I talked about an ancestor before. Her name is Morning Dawn. She was indigenous, and I told a story about her being sold to a white man in a treaty, right? And so my mama is like obsessed with her. Not obsessed with her, but she just really, really likes the idea, concept of her, whatever. And so my mama was like, fuck. Okay, hold on, y'all. No, this is right. Yeah. So my mama was asking me, do she ever come through? And I was like, yeah, I pour libations for her all the time. And she was like, oh, I need to go pour some libations for my ancestors too before I do my protection work. But I was telling her that I pour water for her all the time. And she was like, oh, yeah. And she was like, can you ask her like what happened or whatever? And I was like, yeah, sure. And so I called in my ancestor. Her name is Morning Dawn. She was a princess of a Native American or indigenous tribe. Okay. So this was around 16 to 1700 was when she was born. She told me that she was born in the 1700s though. So it was kind of like the tail end of what was happening at that time. Right. And so I asked her like what happened. And she said she was trapped and she was in trouble. And so I was like, okay, like what happened? Like why was you in trouble? And she said hops. And so I was like, hops. Like at first I thought she said cops, but I was like, that don't make sense because we didn't call them cops back then. But then she repeated it and she said hops with an H. So I looked this shit up, y'all, because when I be getting channel messages, I will look the stuff up that I don't know. And I always end up like finding something, right? So during the 1600s and 1700s, hops referred to the female flower cone, to the Humulus lupus plant, which became the standard ingredient for bitters, flavoring, and preserved beer, right? And so, some point in time in history, hops, if you were selling hops, there was some type of punishment or something that you could get because it became illegal for some reason. But it was only illegal to do it a specific way. Like if you were brewing it using like straw and like something else, it became illegal, right? And so she told me that she got in trouble and there was a trial and then she escaped with this white man before the trial. And so I was like, well, did you want to go with him? Like, was you in love with him? She was like, no, she was not in love with him, but she did. Hold on. Oh, she did love him. I'm sorry. She did love him, but she used him to escape her trial. And so she actually just ran away. And this happened in like Virginia, right? And so I was stunned by this because I didn't know what the fuck hops was. And so I'm just like, okay, let me just look up hops 16 to 1700. And so she gave me some information about history that I didn't know. And so the reason why I love this though is because she told me, she reconfirmed to me something that the Pleiadians were telling me, which is we don't need history from a book because if we get our history from a book, whoever the fuck won the war is telling a story. And all the time, they're not always being honest in that story. They're not always being accountable in that story. And so I'm a medium. And so you get your history from the spirits. And so what spirit was telling me last week is that we came here to learn, grow, to be taught by spirits because spirits lived it. And so they have an embodied knowing that we don't have, that they can teach and help us to guide and guide us with while we're on our journey, while we're actually in the process of living. And then eventually we'll become ancestors to the, whatever. And so she gave me a piece of history I didn't even know fucking existed. And when I say I ate that shit up, I love that shit. I love that shit so bad. And so, yeah, it was like they were trying to commercialize beer and liquor and they put all these parameters and she went against the motherfucking grain and she was like, bitch, I'm gonna do it my motherfucking way. Well, who the fuck are y'all to come in and try to tell me how to do my shit? What's all these parameters that y'all putting around shit? Wasn't no parameters before. So she kept selling that shit while it was illegal, doing it her way. And they caught her ass. Is that right? They caught her. Sorry, she's funny. They caught her and she went on the run with the white man. She did love him though. So she ended up marrying him, and that side of my family is in the Book of Rose because of that. Which is the indigenous Native Americans. Where did you start when wanting to start connecting with your ancestors? I'm a medium. So I went to mediumship school. And so I met this medium because my cousin had passed away and my papa had just passed away and I was kind of like in a dark place. And so I met this medium and she helped me. Her name was Mary, but she worked for the government. That was eye-opening to me because I didn't know the government had hired psychics. That was tea. So she told me she worked for the government and she's a witch, by the way. She worked for the government. And I'm like, okay. So she did a reading for me and it went really, really well. But she told me that I was a medium and that I've been having prophetic dreams since I was a kid. And I knew that because, at the moment when she brought it back up to me, it's like, oh, no, I actually do know that to be true. Yeah, they got astrologers. They got all kind of shit working in the government. They are doing witchcraft against you and telling you not to do witchcraft against them. They don't want you to retaliate, but they definitely doing that shit against you. Because that was all the proof I motherfucking needed, So anyways, she told me I'm a medium and that I need to go to mediumship school and I'll ignore her. I was like, girl, I don't get the fuck on with what I'm asking you to do. Like I was not in that. My cousin just died. Tell me, is my cousin okay? And so, after that though, I was still like posting, exposing the elites online. Cause I think everybody kind of got to go through that whole phase of like exploring the truth and trying to expose the truth and trying to save everybody. That was me. Thank you, baby. And so I got attacked by one of them families for exposing their business, which my spirit team told me was coming that morning, but I just ignored their ass because, I'm big, I'm bad, my dick big too. And I got my ass hit, like really, really hit. And I'm just now getting over the effects of that because it took me like 2-3 years to bounce back from that. But what it did was it made me hyper focus on figuring out hit with what magic, hit with magic. And the magic they use is a lower energy because it smells terrible. It smells like death, And so um that shit kicked me into gear. As terrified as I was, I ain't never backed down from nothing. I'm fearless in that way that I will go towards it before I run away from it, because I feel like fear is just you don't know enough. And so I'm gonna go figure out what I need to fucking know. Because y'all got me fucked up, And so I was reading like 9 books a week by psychic mediums and by, just the woo-woo shit. But I also was reading books about like history and stuff like that, because I love history, y'all. I've always been a history buff. Like that's probably been my favorite subject forever. And so I started like hyper focusing in that direction, and I went to a mediumship school. I went to a spirit school. I did a lot of different things to try to develop my gifts. And then because I'm a medium and as a profession, I am a medium. Like I talk to spirits for other people all the time. I can just tell the difference between the voice of my people and somebody. It's like I've worked with the energy long enough to where I understand. Like it's kind of like when you start reading energy, you start categorizing energy, and your body already knows how to do it. Like I don't need to like take a conscious note of something, because when the energy comes in, I know who it is. And if I don't know who it is, I just ask. I'm like, who is this? And they'll say, oh, this is this person. Oh, okay. Hey, what's up? So yeah, everybody's a medium, really. But yeah, so what I'm doing with my school is helping people in the second year is psychic development. Because I was a spiritual mentor for the last like 2-3 years. I would say probably the last 2 years. And that's what I did. I help people with their gifts. I walked people through their shadow work. Now I just found a way for me to streamline it so that instead of doing one-on-ones, I can take a whole group of people through that. And I've been working with the Mother Earth energy to do that. I've been working with the energy of money to do that as well, because money wants to help us to grow and expand. Money doesn't like the work that it's doing. And so me and money have kind of like built a relationship. And so, so yeah. Am I a shamanic type of energy? I don't know. I'm a conjure type of energy. I know that. but shamanism probably. Definitely will reach out for guidance. Yeah. Do you think if my ancestors are Haitian, I may miss messages because they communicate? No, because energy communicates in energy. Like energy is its own language. And so like I get clients who will come to me and they have like Spanish speaking parents. Their parents don't speak to me in Spanish because I'm the one interpreting the frequency. So they're sending me a frequency and I interpret it into what I understand. And so there's really no language barrier in energy, because energy is one language, if that makes sense. So no. Nope. And if you understand energy, because we can hear energy, we just don't spend a lot of time listening anymore. Well, you need to actually intentionally be practicing listening, because when you can hear energy real easy. You can hear far away. You know how they be talking about mother's ears and shit like that? That's because we can hear far as fuck. We just don't use our ears in the way that we should anymore. So oh yeah, I talk to animals too, y'all. I do animal communication. I actually had a funny cat named Marley yesterday. He was so nonchalant, and he was a fucking menace to his house. I was cracking the hell up. But yeah, I do animal communication as well. Well, I wonder what someone with a mermaid type spirit could do. Oh, sorry, what you say? With the sound. I did that before with a rabbit. Got you. Just found you on here this morning. I appreciate you so much. Oh, thank you, Pamela. I appreciate that. The messenger translates in the yeah. So it's kind of like a frequency that I'm picking up on, and I'm translating the frequency into something that I can understand. But sometimes it's already translated anyway, though, because we don't realize that we're energy decoders and translators and organizers. So our body knows how to do that. We just have to create a safe environment so that we feel safe fully being in our body. That's the problem, is trauma. Trauma is the only reason why some of us don't know how to read energy anymore. But that's why I'm reteaching us through embodiment, because it's not, I'm not gonna let us lose that shit. Because I didn't have no ancestors. I didn't have nobody to teach me. I've learned everything from the spirits. I've learned everything from the spirits, from books. Like, I've been being guided for a long time. And I just chose to use my discernment, and I chose to trust what I'm being told, because that's some of the realest shit I ever fucking heard in my life. So I'm gonna need the September class start. Yeah, so class don't start in September. Class don't ever start until March 22nd, because I need to be in rhythm with the seasons, right? And so we are the most asleep between December 22nd and March 22nd. And so there's no point in me starting y'all before then, because you're about to go into the feminine energy, which is just very slow. You can't do much there. And so classes start March 22nd, but I open applications September 22nd. And the first part of class is self-study, and that's the initiation part. And so, because not everybody can get in, and not everybody's going to be devoted. Usually I have 10 people fall off in the first 3 months of class, and so not everybody's going to make it. And so there's like an initiation period. So if you go to my website, www.bigtajj.com, click on Soul School, and it'll give you the information for Soul School. But applications aren't open right now. Applications don't open until September, because September is the start of the new year, technically, because it's the start of the feminine cycle. And so, or my new year, because I honored the feminine energy, and so applications are open September 22nd with the autumn equinox. Great time for abundance, by the way. Applications will open then. I'll be taking applications until November 22nd. So you'll have 2 months to apply. And it's just a couple questions just to kind of see like how you are with yourself. Like it has nothing to do with your worth. It has more so to do with your level of awareness. Okay. Because some people come looking for relief. They come looking for a savior. And I can't save you. You are the only person to save you. And so if you don't understand that at just the basic, there's nothing I'm going to be able to do. You're not going to be happy with the class, because you're not going to be happy with anybody who can't give you relief. It is a process, and I'm going to walk you through the process, but it's a process nonetheless. Right. And so you will have to be 25 though, because 25 is when your prefrontal cortex develops, which is what gives you access to the spiritual world. And so you have to be at least 25 to join. And then we just kind of go through that application process. I'll get back to y'all December 22nd and tell y'all who have been selected. And then y'all move on, starting March 22nd with the self-study, but you will have a class with me every Friday. Just to kind of test where your skills are when it comes to your, can you read energy? Can you sense energy? Can you sense energetic changes? Okay, period, Kay. Happy birthday, boo. And it is a monthly thing. It's $111 a month. 111, which is new beginnings, for 9 months, which is 999, which is completion. So yes, there's an initiation fee of 111 if you actually want to join after you go through, after you get selected for the process. But yeah, and I do have an app, but the app is only for Apple people. And so that's been a whole hassle, because I have to wait until July before I can make the app on Android. And so I'm in the process of doing that right now. But it has been a beautiful experience. Like, we just started the second phase, which is mirroring, where I give them homework, and like we just went over an abandonment wound. I gave them questions to kind of consider where they first felt abandoned and things like that. And then they come into class, and numerology. I use numerology all the time. I heard the school was really cool, and they do a lot of cool things. Girl, boo. She's one of my guides, by the way, Jayla. Hi, Jayla. But yeah, and I'm also trying to plan an end of the year trip. I was trying to get somebody to sponsor it, but I don't know if that's going to happen or not. So instead, what I think I'm going to do is just plan a trip and maybe like put together some packages, because I want also too for us to get to know each other, for us to build community, for this to be your spiritual community. Because I think a lot of times what people come to me for is a spiritual community. because they don't have one. And so this is a way for me. You'll be in class with them for 3 years, so you'll have your community. And within the people that I have right now, I have people who do astrocartography. I have people who do spiritual mentorship. I have people who do yoga, because yoga is also meant to help you to circulate the energy in your body. I have people who do like nutrition. I have people who do herbalism and use astrology and herbalism together. I got people with all kind of stuff. And so there's projects that we do as well. And so if you want to teach something in class, like today we have somebody doing a project at 5 o'clock. But if you want to teach something in the class, I allow you space to do that because I want it to feel like it's your school too, like, and there's no hierarchy or nothing like that. I try to run everything in a specific way, but yeah, I'm not greater than anybody in that school, and vice versa. So it's been a great experience. It's beautiful. I love doing it. I think people have already seen progress. People are allowing themselves to be more visible now and more open and more honest about what their experience was. And it just gives you a space to kind of like not be judged, And I think I do a good job of like directing things when they need to be directed and, explaining things, because I think also too, some of us just don't know how to process our trauma because we've never talked to somebody who has processed their fucking trauma. Right. And so as a person who has processed a lot of my trauma and still is processing my trauma, because I don't never stop working on myself. Not that I think that I'm broken or anything like that, but I'm always open to being, to refining, like I think that's what this journey is about, is being your most authentic self. And I'm different versions of me in different seasons. And I need to honor that, And so as somebody who has done a lot of my own work and is continued to do work, oh, thank you, Memory. School is amazing. I love what I'm learning. As a person who kind of went through my own shit, I've embodied my knowing now. Like I know exactly who I am. I know exactly why I be feeling the way that I be feeling and all of that. And so I'm really good at communicating. I'm really good at speaking up. I'm really good at saying the hard things in a compassionate way. Sometimes I just rip the Band-Aid off too, though. I ain't even gonna lie to you, because I'm not a loving light girly. I'm more of a let's bring you back to reality. That's good and all, but come back down here, but yeah, it's just a way because the West teaches us how to spiritual bypass. And so a lot of us don't know how to actually live in our bodies and feel safe doing that. So that's what the school is about. And it's only for women as well. It's a space for women because I would rather teach the women and then the women go teach the men, or by what they embody, It's not that you're trying to teach men. It's just that you're showing up differently because of this, And so it is a space only for women. What does it mean when you feel atmosphere changes in a room? You're reading energy. Well, you're probably clairsentient. I was cute and nice, but you reminded me I'm assertive and kind. Yes, you are. Period. Let's stop being nice. Because I think that's where my burnout is right now too. It's like, and that's why I feel like I'm a little more raw right now. Because we got all these Aries energy going on. And my Aries is in Mars. And Mars is your ego. Really. That's what I think. Mars is your ego. And so I'm very short-tempered right now. And so I'm trying my hardest to fight for my center and compassion. But I just think I'm tired, and I'm also realizing that irritability is a lack of integration. I'm getting slammed with a lot of energy that I haven't taken the time to integrate yet. So I need to do my own shit. But yeah, I hate the word nice too, because that requires you to prioritize what other people need in front of what you need. And it bypasses your discernment. Everybody's getting on my nerves, like literally, literally. And I don't even argue with people, but now I just be feeling like, shut the fuck up talking to me. I genuinely just be feeling like y'all don't even realize when people are giving y'all mercy. I could act a plum fucking ass right now, but I'm trying my hardest not to. It's like I could act a fucking ass right now. You are lucky you didn't meet me a couple years ago. How do you detect who is really talking? Like I hear it and I know it wasn't. Ask. You just ask. Who is this? And then I confirm with somebody. Like when I had my grandma's, so my mom's dad's mom. Okay. So my great grandma has a sister. And I was doing some work and I asked if I had any ancestors that could help me with the work that I was doing. And my grandma's My great grandma's sister came through, but I never met her a day in my life. And so I asked her who she was, and she showed me my grandma, my great grandma. And I was like, oh, okay. And she said her name was Auntie Annie. And so I went to my mama because that's my mama's grandma. And I was like, hey, do you know her? And she was like, yes. And I was like, oh, okay. Because I knew she was black. I knew she was one of like black ancestors because she didn't give me no much. She put that boot on my motherfucking neck so fucking quick. She snatched me the fuck up so fucking quick. She wouldn't let me rest. She wouldn't let me rest. I feel like that's a black woman thing. We don't know how to rest. She wouldn't let me rest at all. But she was right. She was right. She was right. So shout out to my auntie Annie. I pay reference to her all the time, but yeah, she runs a strict program. She runs a very strict program. But you'll notice too when you get in spirit, because I think me working with spirits made me realize it made me be confident in myself, because they don't play about you knowing your self-worth. And them women spirits, they'll tell you in a quick fucking second to stand the fuck up, you know? Have some self-respect, have some fucking self-worth. Do you know who the fuck you are? They'll do that to you real quick. And I appreciate that because it really made me realize, oh, I'm the fucking prize. And not that I didn't know that, I knew that conceptually, but I wasn't living by it. That Auntie let me know she black too. Yeah. Auntie. Did you learn how to listen in school or did it just come natural? No, I sit in stillness. So I have this energy in human design, gate 52, where it's called like the bird watcher energy because you get clarity through stillness. In my energy, that specific energy, I can sit in one place for a long period of time. And so sometimes I'll think that I'm meditating for 30 minutes and it's been 3 hours. And I don't have a good concept of time. And so sometimes I'll be there forever. But I feel delicious when I get out. I also like to meditate and stuff. I meditate all the time. And so it's stillness. Yeah, I sit in stillness. I sit in darkness too. If you want to get a dark spot in your closet, that really, really reorients your perception. And it can really help you to get there faster and help you to feel safer in your body as well. Sitting in darkness, pure darkness, no light. Okay. You're welcome. Can you tell us how you evolved into your abilities? I just tried. I think so many of us are afraid of getting it wrong. So we just won't fucking try. We are low-key afraid of the spiritual realm because we don't know a lot about it, but that's where you need to educate yourself. That's where you need to try. That's where if you can get around somebody who knows at least the basics, that can give you the basics, do that. But I just kept trying and I failed a lot. I got my ass beat for 2.5 years in the spiritual realm. They jumped my ass in. They jumped me in. I was jumped in. Okay. They said, oh, you want to come over here? Cool. Whoop my motherfucking ass. But I'm grateful for it though. It literally led me to this version of myself that is sure. I'm sure of myself. That's part of it though. Like you got to go through the spiritual realm to get to your truth because the spiritual realm is where the truth is, because we came here to learn from the spirits, And so sometimes what we perceive as good and bad, they don't look at it like that because we live in a neutral energy. The good and bad is us trying to make meaning of something instead of just living it. It's us trying to understand something as a concept instead of just fucking living it. You don't need to understand it as a concept. The wisdom comes from you sitting with it. The wisdom comes from the lesson. But so many times we try to understand it conceptually because that's spiritual bypassing. You're trying to give yourself relief. You're trying to move it up off of you instead of just holding it. You don't want to hold it. You need to put it somewhere. You need to blame this person or blame that person but they did this and they did that. So you got to change the language, interrupt the identity. I don't ever say they did this. When I'm explaining the story, I only talk from my perspective. I felt like this when this happened. Not, well, they made me feel like I was this and I was I felt like I was an inconvenience. I talk from my point of view because we so many times try to decide what somebody else's intention was. You don't know what their intention was because you probably didn't ask them, And if you did ask them, would you even trust that shit? No, so many times we try to put it somewhere else because then we don't have to hold it, or we try to explain it and over explain it to other people But because you got to know this detail too. So I'm justified in what I did afterwards. And you don't need to explain it to nobody. You don't need to prove shit to nobody. This is what happened. But we want to live in the coulda, shoulda, wouldas of things just because we don't want to be responsible. We need somebody else to be responsible. You have to be responsible for your own shit. Is there anything we can do on our journey that helps our ancestors in the spiritual plane? Yes. You heal your ancestors by what you embody. And so, however you feel is how your ancestors felt. Because the whole first 25 years of your life is you embodying your ancestors' energies because you're being coached and molded by the people around you, right? And so you're going through this process of separation from self, right? And so however you end up feeling, even if you're blaming your ancestors and the people who came before you and the way they treated you and that, it's how they felt though. A lot of times people are just perpetuating the same shit, projecting the same shit because they have never seen anybody else do anything differently, right? And so that's when you come in. You got to go through the separation because you have to embody their energy. Nobody's going to understand that energy better than somebody who's lived inside of it, right? That's the mission. You have to get into it. You have to go through separation. You have to be rejected. You have to be unseen. You have to be told that your truth is not enough. All of that is part of it. That's the initiation, right? Because we initiate through the shadow. If you ain't never been through no shit, how the fuck you gonna teach somebody? You only can teach from the challenges, the suffering, because that's the shit that we remember. That's the shit that hurts us. That's the shit that has the lasting impact and teaches us the most is the darkness, right? And so you got to go through that shit. Once you start walking back towards yourself, the goal is to hold as much of it as you can without trying to place it somewhere else. That's how you increase your capacity. It's nobody else's fault. Did all those things happen? Yes. Were they wrong in a situation? Yes. But you can't do anything by trying to make them be accountable for something. The only thing that you can do is be accountable for your part. When did you ignore yourself when you knew something else was going on? How long did you stay after you realized this wasn't your person? How many times did you abandon yourself to be in community with people, to belong? Right? That's what you can hold yourself accountable for. And you got to move differently now too. The next time that shows up in your reality, are you going to choose it again? Or are you going to choose something different? Right? That's the work. And then what you embody through that process of you figuring out who you are and how to handle yourself and how to develop boundaries, because compassion needs boundaries. Empathy needs boundaries. Everything you got needs boundaries. And you don't learn that until you go through the shadow part, right? And so, because it's teaching you your boundaries, because your shadow protects your light. Your shadow teaches you boundaries. It teaches you discernment. The discernment happens in the spiritual world, though, right? Which means you got to get your ass beat by them spirits because they're teaching you discernment. Sometimes it's your ancestors who putting shit in your way. Sometimes it's your ancestors that's causing the obstacles and the challenges. And it's because you keep going against your truth. And their whole goal is to get you aligned with their truth because you're the continuation of their legacy. Especially if you're a woman, you're continuing their legacy. And so they live on through you. So what you can do is heal yourself. And it's not that you're broken. So when I say heal, I mean increase your capacity to hold your water without you trying to put it somewhere else. Okay, you're not broken. You don't need fixing. There's nothing wrong with you. You came in here perfect the way that you were. You had to go through separation so that you can see what your lineage needed. Okay, but when you go back and you do the work and you if they struggled when it came to accountability, you learn how to be accountable. If they struggle with authenticity, you learn how to be authentic visibly. If they struggle with speaking up, you learn how to speak up. Right? Everything that you didn't like, you change it now. And then through you changing it, through you embodying something different, through you becoming a different person, you teach other people. It's not that you're trying to teach other people. No, it's that you show up differently in situations now. Right? And they get to witness you showing up differently in those situations. And that's what heals the past. Because then you start affecting the people around you by spreading your light, by spreading your perspective, your truth, you know? And so you heal the past in the present moment. Whatever you feel is the energy of your ancestors. You're welcome. I was just doing research on my ancestors. Everything makes sense. Yeah. Because your ancestors live underneath you in Earth's grid. Because your ancestors are Earth spirits, just like you Earth spirits. Are these what generational curses are? Yeah. It's just the repeating of an archetype. It's the repeating of the same behavior. And it's the repeating of the same behavior that goes against your truth. You know? Some people conform. Some people are beaten to submission. Some people endure. Be the one that endure. If you end up being the one who does it different, you're going to show everybody else that there's a different reality they could be living if they chose differently. If they chose to learn how to communicate. You know? And I shift my family all the time. I was beaten into submission too at some point in time. Um, but anytime you can rise up out of that shit, you just gotta want different, and it is hard. It's not an easy thing. I had to keep looking at myself over and over and over and over and over again, and even on some topics that I was like, this is not me. But you got to be willing to look at that shit because at some level it is. Otherwise, it wouldn't be coming up. So the question is, which gate in human design reveals how to build structure in your life? How you looked at a gate to be an assistance with building structure. Obviously, I know that's not the ultimate dictator. I love using human design. And I love who your channel messages. Thank you, baby. So here's the thing. Structure is built on the concept of self-worth. Okay? Structure is built on self-worth. Okay? Self-worth is Earth's energy. Okay? It's Earth's energy. Now, the reason why I'm saying that, the higher Earth is Venus, though. Okay? So, self-worth, you're only going to build a structure based on how worthy you think you are. Right? And so the work, if you're trying to build something, is in self-worth and how much you think that you are worth outside of what you have, what you can do, and all of those things. Right? And so if we're going to talk about what energy you need to build the structure in, you need to look at the moon sign and you need to look at Venus. Whatever your moon is in, whatever your Venus is in. And I look in the subconscious mind because the subconscious mind is 90% of who you are. The reason why you need to look at your moon is because your moon is what drives. I'm sorry, not your moon. Look at your Earth. My bad. Look at your Earth and look at Venus. Okay. Earth is the energy you need to be grounded in order for you to feel supported in this reality. Okay. Because if we're talking self-worth, you have to, before you can even get to the part of am I worthy, am I not worthy, you have to feel safe. Right. And so Earth in human design is trying to tell you what you need to do to make sure that you feel safe in your environment, which is Earth. Right. And then you have Venus, which is your values, it's your aesthetic and what you need in relationships. That's also important because we live in shared space. Okay. You need to learn how to be in community with other people without abandoning yourself because that's self-worth. Right. That's what Venus is trying to teach you with Taurus, with Libra. Right. And so you need to look at your Earth. You need to look at Venus. That's what I would do. My mom said I was born between 12 and 1 a.m. I've asked multiple times. Okay, yeah. I would, if I was doing your reading, I would just put it at 12:30. But really, I would look at 12, I would look at 12:30, and I would look at 1, and I would see if there's any differences. And if there is, then I would just give you the differences in like a mini reading, and then you can tell me what feels closest to you. And then we can kind of go from there. Hey, Simone. Welcome in, my love. What time is it? Oh, I got about 30 minutes before I got to go do this protection work because why would they be playing with me? Any book recommendations for beginners? Oh, y'all ask me that a lot. This is what I recommend. 1, Big Mama, The Celestine Prophecy. I live, I die, I breathe. The Celestine Prophecy, top tier. Thank you, Simone. Top tier shit. Okay. I also say Women Who Run with Wolves, especially if you're trying to learn who you are as a woman outside of patriarchy. Okay. And Spirit also recommends that too. Women Who Run with Wolves. So it was like a Hispanic lady. Her name was Clarissa Pinkola Estes. And she went around to all these indigenous tribes and got their stories that were not, filtered through the patriarchy, because a lot of what we consider to be like the fairy tales and the stories of like the princesses and shit. If you read the originals, like Grimes, like the originals, them was some dark ass motherfucking books. Them wasn't no princess fairy glass slipper shit. That was some murder, kill type shit. And so when the patriarchy came about, it tried to convince women that they were docile, they were weak, they needed protection, all of those things, right? The Women Who Run with Wolves are the original stories of indigenous people and how they used to view women outside of patriarchy. And so it's a very, very beautiful book. I would suggest that. Waking Up in 5D by Maureen St. Germain is always one of my go-tos too. I think that book opened me up to, like, if you want to like go kind of in the fantasy direction, like vampires, spontaneities, like dragons, like she's a medium. And so that's a good book. Also, The Astral Plane, it's Inhabitants, something and Phenomenon. Inhabitants, Scenery, and Phenomenon by C.W. Leadbeater. He was also a psychic back in like the 1800s. That's a really good book too, because it tells you about all the energies in the spiritual realm. I actually have a podcast called Becoming No One by Taja Moore. It's on every platform. It actually did really, really well. I was shocked by how well that did. Season 1, I talk about the astral plane and its inhabitants. So if you don't want to read the book and you would rather just listen to a podcast episode on it, it's in my it's on my YouTube. It's on Apple. It's on Spotify. It's on all of that. My podcast is called Becoming No One. So if you go to my website, www.bigtajj.com, if you scroll down on that first page, it lists my podcast, my page, it lists everything. Psychic books. I would say The Astral Plane and its inhabitants, scenery, and phenomenon is really, really good. Yes, lady, Kiko. I think that's really, really good. I also think Waking Up at 5D is really, really good. There's another one. Hold on. Let me look at my if you go to the season 1 of my podcast, Becoming No One, at the end of every episode, I give you book recommendations. I give you homework. I give you all of that. So if you're looking for a place and you don't know where to go on your spiritual journey, what I was doing was taking people on my spiritual journey with me. And so all of the stuff that I know came from some of this stuff that I've done already. So if you just go back to the first season of the podcast, you'll know what I was studying, and and you can kind of walk yourself forward on your path too. Hey, Kavia. Yeah, them fairy tales was not no fairy tales. They was real scary, real eerie, So yeah, somebody asked me something about readings though. Hold on, what did you say? When do you do readings? I only work on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday. And so if you book a reading, I'll send you an email and we go from there. I suggest everybody do a consultation and divination though, because a consultation is just me figuring out what your fears, what your patterns are from you. The divination part is me going to spirit and asking spirit what they think it is. And then I give you advice. I give you some rituals that you can do on your own, but I also offer, if I can offer spiritual work on your behalf, I will offer it. But my spirit team is kind of strict. If you're not going to actually make different choices, they won't let me do the work for you. So, the question is, do you think cultural roots matter? I've been inspired to lean into spirituality, but it seems like I need to look at the Nigerian perspective. I think it matters in a sense of paying reverence to your ancestors, but I don't think it matters in a sense of you exploring yourself spiritually, because even though you are your ancestors, you still have individuality and free will. And so I didn't necessarily start with hoodoo. I started my own thing. Yeah, I would do a consultation and divination first, because at least I can tell you, because a consultation and divination is meant for people who feel stuck. If you feel stuck and you don't know what to do, a consultation and divination is me telling you, based on what spirit is saying, based on what your ancestors are saying, based on what your spirit guides are saying, what they're saying you need to do to create movement. Sometimes I can do a spell for you. I can create movement for you, but sometimes they say no. Because the person doesn't actually want to do anything different. They're looking for relief. They're looking for somebody to save them and sometimes your ancestors are who say no, not my ancestors. My ancestors are kind of strict, but sometimes it be y'all ancestors who would be like, no. And I'll be like, oh, my bad. And I would never overstep because that's their domain. Yep, book through the website and I'll send you an email. But yeah, I don't think you need to go the Nigerian perspective. I think you need to consider it, you know? But I think explore what you want to explore because this is your life. You get to do that shit your way. You know, that's not you disrespecting them or anything like that. It's you finding your own way. You know? Yeah, because you got to be ready to receive the message. Absolutely. I hope my ancestors are proud of me, even though I made bad choices. We all make, I mean, there is no good or bad, though. It's just, was it in alignment with your truth or was it not in alignment with your truth? Our ancestors don't shame us. We shame us because we grew up in a society that taught us to shame ourselves. It's self-punishment. You're not broken. And so there are no bad choices. There's data collection. Did it work or did it not work? Did it make you feel good or did it make you feel bad? Next time, learn from the lesson. You know, but sometimes what I was saying yesterday in my live of what the great mother was telling me, or the mother goddess, whatever you want to call her. I'm talking about Earth when I say that. What she was telling me is that sometimes you got to live shit under tension until you get tired of that shit for you to learn the lesson. And so sometimes some of us are just hard-headed and we got to live it and we got to bump our head over and over again until we finally get it, you know? And so I think our team is very patient with us, but they also can't help you if you're closing off to them. If you keep moving away from your truth, that's what my higher self told me. Every single time you move away from what you know what your truth is, you disconnect from us. You sever the connection every single time. Because we're telling you what the truth is and you're not listening. Our only job is to create a safe environment for our light to come down. You know? Well, I mean, that's your work to do. The only reason why we're scared is because we've been told we should be scared. You know? And so you got to unpack that. You know? And I also want to say, what's crazy about religion is that they have y'all doing rituals all the time. Y'all have no idea what it means to eat the bones and drink the blood or something. And for it to be an entity, you don't know what you're tethering yourself to. You have no fucking idea what type of ritual that is. Right? That's one. Two, the difference between spirituality and religion is that they're praising one spirit. It's one spirit, or Muslim, whatever you want to say. It's one spirit that they're honoring and paying reverence to. Right? I don't know what the Muslim way is, so but it's one spirit. But why would you only talk to one spirit when there's an infinite amount of them? Well, they need you believe in one truth and talking to one spirit because they're hoarding your energy. I'd rather talk to my people who bled for me and I know they bled for me. I'd rather talk to them. They tell you covered in the blood of Jesus when you come out covered in the blood of your mama. Everything that patriarchal Abrahamic religions sell is that the man is at the head. And it's what they did because they felt inadequate because of how we treated them. We did that. We created the dynamic. Now we created the dynamic by treating them as if they were just fuck toys. You know, we were supposed to honor them and we didn't. You know, so we had to go through karma for that. But I know I'm the continuation of my ancestors. They have a vested interest in me doing well. You know? And who's to say that man died for our sins? First of all, he wouldn't have even been in a religious organization because he didn't even like that. Sorry, put that egg back in there. He didn't even like that. So that created a system around somebody who would have never agreed with this shit. And then they were so afraid of what he was saying, they killed him. And they said, Well, he had to die because it was for your sins. So that you can then pour all your energy back into him. You owe him your energy because he died for your sins. I didn't ask him to do that. It's like saying you owe your parents your life and how you live your life because they brought you here or because they're your parents. Whoa. I don't know that man. I ain't tell him to do that. Why I owe him something? You know? That's crazy. So Joshua would have never agreed with this. He didn't want you in religion. He was literally saying you could do what I do. Yeah. I think it's a process, you know? I think everybody gotta go through it. And what's crazy is in the next couple of years, so many people are gonna be defaulting back into Christianity because of what's happening with Neptune. So you're gonna see who was playing in y'all fucking face and who wasn't. Our energy, our reverence, you know, what do they say that we owe him? Our energy, our reverence, we owe him respect and honor. And so every single week you need to come to church, you need to tithe, you need to give money because that's energy. You need to pray and dance and sing because that's energy. Y'all don't know when you dance and you sing, you channeling energy down. And they take that energy and they hoard it, right? Because if the church needs something, they come into church and they tell you need to give them money. But if you need something, they tell you to pray about it. Where the fuck they do that at? Because churches didn't used to be like that. Churches used to have community gardens. They used to help the kids with the school supply. Them motherfuckers don't do nothing but take your money and buy Maseratis. My ex-best friend got hit by a car. She almost died. It was a really, really bad situation. She ended up getting $100,000. She gave $25,000 to the church. That still sends me into a tizzy. Yeah, so it's not teaching the man right. We were using the men for our benefit. Meaning like we had our own community, but we was kind of like treating them like outcasts. And then when we needed sex to procreate, we would just do what we got to do and then send them back on their motherfucking way. Like we were not paying reverence in the way that we should have. We should have treated them as equals, and we did not do that. You know what I can do with that kind of money right now? Girl. And she said that Jesus saved her. The only reason why she living is because Jesus saved her. And the whole time I was in the hospital with her, it very much so looked like the doctors. It looked like the doctors was doing that. It looked like the doctors were doing that. But, you know, neither here nor there. I'm not going to shun people for what they believe in, because I also think that any spiritual relationship, if you go in with a humble and an honest heart, you're going to connect to the right thing. You know, I just say use discernment. And then the church people catch the Holy Ghost and follow. Yes. There's actually a white tarot reader in here that just went back to Christianity. Oh yeah, I seen Alex reads tarot. Yeah. But money and Jesus don't even go together, baby. listen. But it was all a trick though, because what they used to do back in the day, because this religious shit, like when it emerged with the patriarchy, right? And so men used institutions, they used doctrines, they used laws, they used information, right? And so no, Christianity was not created by Constantine the Great. Christianity was amplified by Constantine. All right, because Christianity didn't start in the 17th century like they told you. It started in the 14th century. There's a great book on this called Astral Worship by J.H. Hill. Love that book. I also did like a little series on this. But what happened was, and I've told this story before, but basically, just to sum it up, in the 14th century, they were saying like, the man is coming out of the clouds with the trumpet. Everybody prepare. It's going to be Judgment Day, right? And so people was like cutting themselves. They was carrying crosses up the hills. They was doing all this stuff to show their devotion, and nothing happened. And so they turned on the priest and they start killing the priest, right? And so they went into what we call the the Enlightenment era right after that, because they were just like, y'all sold us a crock of fucking shit. We're not going to fucking heaven, and they started killing the priests, right? At the same time, the Roman Empire actually adapted, I think, Judaism as their main, or Catholicism, one of those, as their main religion, because the Christians were acting like Ebionites and they was going around and burning people's books and like repent, 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 and all this shit. And it made it legal for the state to kill Christians, right? And so Christians were kind of like scarred, off into the corner, excommunicated, because nobody believed them anymore. Everybody was getting back into esotericism, occultism, stuff like that. And so Constantine wanted to be the only emperor, and he went around and he killed all the other emperors. And then he went to his home church and he asked for absolution, and they told him no. And so he killed the priest. And so he went to the Christians, who were actually in the process of recruiting poor and incompetent people, and what they were doing is selling them the hope of later glory. And so that's what the spiritual bypassing is. Like, you can't have your heaven on earth right now. You actually have to wait until heaven after you die, right? And so there was like, you can't have it right now, but if you stay devoted, you get it after you pass away, which is a lie. That's why people think that you grow angel wings and you go to heaven's gates. At another fuck, you don't, right? And so anyways, Constantine went to the Christians, and he asked the Christians, who were incompetent, by the way, they were impoverished people who had no education. They were not even taught how to fucking read. They couldn't read the book they were selling, right? And he asked them, and they said, oh, absolutely, right? And so he said, I saw an image. It said reign under Christianity. And so he changed the religion to Christianity, right? And this motherfucker he wasn't a Christian. And so he only made two factions, which is the Father and the Son. And that's Orthodox Christian worships God, whereas Baptist Christian, Protestant, all of the Christian that we know today worships Jesus, which is the Son of God, right? But he forgot about the mother because he was not a Christian. And so he only had those two factions. And he was bouncing in between the factions. Like, he even had the Orthodox Christian. He went Orthodox Christian, and the Christians we know today, he had excommunicated them, went up in their houses, burnt their books, all of this shit, only for those people to piss him off, and for him to say, never mind, and then start doing it to the okay, that man was a tyrant. He burnt his wife alive. He did all kind of shit. But the reason why we have like temples and tithing and stuff like that is because back in the day, they used to go to those temples, and those temples was actually our temples. Originally, the Vatican is the serpent lady. It was our temples. We were prophetess, right? Before we got infiltrated. And so he had his mama go look for the Holy Scepter, and his mama was like, oh, I found the cross, all this shit. Great. This is where Jesus was killed. All of that shit is a lie. Because the story of Jesus that we know about him being hung on a cross and killed is the story of Prometheus. The original text of Prometheus, they was even doing plays about it where he was tied to a tree and he was killed the same motherfucking way. Okay. But now they say Prometheus was tied to a rock. No, the fuck he wasn't. He was tied to a motherfucking tree. And he was unalived in the same way. But that's a whole nother story. So yeah, Constantine didn't create Christianity, but he did amplify it. And so Constantine in the East, Christians, is considered to be like the godfather in a way, but it's because he was a fucking tyrant and he pushed one world order. And he wanted everybody under one system so that he can control people better, because he was a fucking asshole. He boiled his wife alive. He killed his own son. He killed his own nephew. He killed 6 of his fucking family members. The motherfucker was crazy. You know? It's called Astral Worship by J.H. Hill. I actually think they got a copy online that you can get for completely free. Hold on. I think it's Neptune. Okay, hold on. I think it's moving into Pisces or something, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, and Aries. The most intense placement for it to fucking be. Yeah. Yeah, Neptune is moving into Aries, and Aries is about is like the infant of the zodiac. It's more of like warrior energy or whatever. But I think that a lot of people are Yeah, because Aries is like a new beginning type of energy. I think a lot of people, because we're entering into such a spiritual energy, I think a lot of people are going to either lean into spiritual practices in this way, that a lot of us are moving back towards getting back in community with earth, spell work, root work, conjure work, all of that. And then some people are going to revert completely back to Christianity because it feels safe for them. The thing about Neptune is the planet of your spiritual life purpose, is of your dreams and your goals, but it's very elusive, meaning that there's a lot of illusions within Neptune. And Aries is such a infant of the zodiac energy that its arrogance and its hubris sometimes gets in the way. And so if you feed the ego of an Aries energy, the illusions work. Okay, the illusions work, because Aries has the tendency to think that it knows everything, right? And that it don't need no help, and that it got it all figured out. It's they way or the highway. It tends to be very, and so yeah, it's gonna be an interesting time. You're gonna see who been faking it for sure. Um, and it's so crazy. Ooh, I'm having deja vu right now. It's so crazy. I've had deja vu like 3 times today. It is so crazy because I think that so many people was just riding the trends of tarot and stuff like that. It was a way for them to make quick money and da da da. A lot of them wasn't even actually fully in it. And I think too, when you have a platform and people tend to resonate with what you're saying and all of that stuff, it could be overwhelming. And what I mean by that is you don't expect to be as big as you are, or you don't expect to move as quickly as you do. And if you have this fear of visibility, and then you got all these eyes on you where people are unintentionally sending you energy, or intentionally sending you energy, because when you have visibility, you have to have your protection work has to be on fucking par, because you don't make yourself only visible to people. A lot of people have spirits on them, spirits that are attached to them, and you become visible to them spirits. They see your light shining and they're gonna come to you because you're the bigger light. They done drank this motherfucker their energy. So you gotta be on your fucking P's and Q's when you visible like that. There's a lot of people that are seeing energy, and I think that yes, she was giving tarot, but I don't think she was doing spiritual protection. I don't think she was doing spiritual protection. And you become a target. I told you what happened to me. You become a fucking target. I don't play about my motherfucking protection. We about to go into the Saturn hour right now in 4 minutes. We about to go into the Saturn hour in 4 minutes. I told you somebody was sending me negative energy yesterday. You got to be able to catch that shit. When you feel that shit, you got to catch that shit. And you got to go talk to the spirits. Okay? As I did this morning. As I am right now. I can't do work for you unless your team say that I can do work for you. You got to do work for you though. I can't just do work. You can't just do work for people. That's why I offer consultations and divinations, because you have to ask spirit if that work can be done. Because if you go fucking around in somebody else's journey, just because you think you fucking can, and you think you can bypass their fucking ancestors and the spirits that are meant to help them grow, you got another motherfucking thing coming. You don't want to inherit nobody else's karma. You don't want to get fucked up by their spirits either, because you meddling in business that ain't yours to meddle with. There is an etiquette in spirit. Etiquette. That's not a word. There's etiquette in spirit. And so, no. We can do a consultation and divination now. If you do a consultation and divination, I'll tell you if your spirit team said that I can help you. But yeah, you got to be careful, because just like there is respect and reverence for living, we just don't have no fucking respect. That's our fucking problem is the living. We don't have no fucking respect. And so we be thinking we move like colonizers in the spiritual realm. And we just go over there and think we can just bogart, and we can just take, and we can just act like, oh, well, I asked for it, so it's owed to me. Hell fucking no. Them spirits don't play like that. Ain't shit owed to you. Even if they are your family. Everybody got their own autonomy. Everybody's the authority of their own life. And so it's about building a relationship that is based in devotion and reverence and authenticity too. Because some people be thinking they can trick spirits. Oh, I want this. And there's spirits that'll do any work, because there is no good or bad. It's just whether or not you build a relationship with a spirit. Some spirits will do any work, but you got to have a relationship with them. Because sometimes you fuck with the wrong people, you try to hit the wrong people. If you're doing baneful magic or like justice, I ain't gonna say justice work, but baneful magic, sometimes you don't know who the fuck you fucking with. You got to be careful. The spirits trick us all the time, though. So the spirits trick us all the time, and it's not even like on some. Some of them aren't doing it to harm us. Some of us are doing it to show us something, you know. And so even with that whole thing that I was telling y'all where I was hit with that magic attack, the Pleiadians did that. And they was like, you was moving too far away from your truth. We need to get you back in alignment. We knew that this would, and it did. It did. That was the scariest shit of my motherfucking life. You better fucking believe I went searching high and low to find the fucking answers for what I needed. Right. And so it's just redirection. And it's not, we got to stop looking at shit as good and bad, because if you look at it as good and bad, you'll never move. You know, what's up, love? You'll never move. You'll never try anything new. That's the thing about religion, is that it limits you. It restricts you. It stops you from exploring, when exploring is your fucking birthright. You came here to discover yourself, but you can't do that fully because as soon as you get here, the first place they take you is that motherfucking church. They take you to that church. Why? Because they put in restrictions and limitations over you before you even have your own choice in the matter. You know? How do you do protection work? That's a very, very loaded question, friend. I would suggest reading some books. Let me tell you. I'll give you one. I'll give you some. It's one book. I don't know how y'all feel about Hecate, but Hecate is one of the great mothers for sure, or like one of the divine feminine energies. I haven't. So there is a book called. Oh, is this on? Okay, hold on. Hold on, y'all. Oh damn! I think I'm gonna have to sign into this. I don't know if I. Oh, okay. Period. Oh shit. I'm not gonna be able to see it on this side because I need to log into it from my phone, and my phone is what I'm making the video off of. There was a book though that I really, really liked that has some protection work. It's protection and reversal magic. That's what it's called. Protection and reversal magic. It's by, who is this? Jason Miller. Protection and reversal magic. It's really good. It's a lot of it is Hecate though, which is the goddess of witchcraft, the threshold keeper. To be honest, she's a very respected and respected spirit. Even when spirits and shit be fighting, like they always respect her. Reversal magic, protection and reversal magic, like reverse the car. That's a good one. Also, 365 days of hoodoo if you're trying to learn. 365 days of hoodoo is created by Green Witch. And Green Witchery is a great place to start. And the only reason why I say that is because, yeah, Jason Miller. Green witches don't have like rules. They don't work with spirits. They only work with the roots. They are root workers, right? And so they work with the spirits of the roots, but they don't work with like deities and things like that, right? And so green witchery don't really have rules in the same way as like hoodoo or voodoo or like a closed practice. It's about you like really learning how to explore yourself. So this is actually a really good book, The Green Witch. But also, if y'all are over 25, in September I do open up my soul school, and I do teach y'all. I teach y'all in my soul school because I'm teaching y'all embodiment, and that's a part of embodiment. You have to be actively engaging with Earth, which is the body that you come from, you know? And so green witchery is a really good one. What makes hoodoo a closed practice? Is that what you're asking? Because 25 is the threshold. um Ancient civilizations would only initiate you at 25. Is when your prefrontal cortex actually develops, and it's when you first get access to the spiritual world. And so you don't really need it before 25, because before 25 you are learning yourself. You're literally going through trauma and things like that. The conditioning of your parents, the conditioning of society, and all of that is not until after that 25 threshold that you actually start looking at yourself from a spiritual lens, or you have that first activation of the soul, that's first spiritual awakening. Um, so this is 365 Days of Hoodoo. It's great. It's a great transition from this book to this book, because this is, now we're talking hoodoo, but this book of hoodoo is written by a green witch. Okay, she's a root worker. Really a green witch is a root worker. She's a root worker. Okay. And so these are two good books to get you started. I also say get this book, The Power of Psalms, especially if you had Christian ancestors, because we wrote Psalms. We did. Those are powerful incantations. Okay. And so this is another good book for Psalms and what they're used for. Okay. Like what to use them for. And it has protection. It has legal help. It has a lot of stuff in this book. When it comes to astrology, somebody asked me about astrology. This is the best. This is what I love for. Okay, I'll send you an email once I get off here. When it comes to astrology, I love this book for modern astrology. But then I love this book. Oh shit, hold on. Let me not break my seashell, because I would be fucking devastated. I love this book for esoteric astrology. And this book is The Library of Esoterica Astrology. The Power of Psalms. And then somebody asked me about astrology. This is for esoteric. This is for the ancient version, because there was Chaldean astrology before there was what we consider Western astrology. But then I also like this little book too. It's a quick little hit, Astrology and Numerology, because numerology is, or math is, the language of the universe. And so understanding numerology is important. I kind of teach that in school as well. But yeah, I'll let y'all know when I start opening up. Well, I don't want you to think that all that needed to happen, you know, because I think that's a way for us to kind of justify what we've been through. Sometimes terrible shit happens. Okay. Sometimes terrible shit happens. But don't let that shit slide. Some shit, I need that. A lot of times, whatever. Some shit, I need that. So yeah. Yes, I did watch Disclosure Day. I actually am having some of those experiences. Like the thing that she said, like she don't need to remember because he's remembering. That is how my gifts work. And so when people ask me how my gifts work, I never know what to tell them besides the fact that you have a memory field, and I can put my hand in your memory field based off of what you remember. So if somebody is struggling to uncover a memory and they don't remember something, I can't see it. I can only show you where to find it in your body, you know? So it's like when people are talking to me all the time, I already know what you're about to say. So I don't need you to fully explain it to me because I already feel the energy. I'm already in your energy field. So I don't need you to fully tell me because I already know. And so I struggle with impatience sometimes because I'll start talking before you even finish because I already see what you're saying, you know? And so the whole thing about touching into people's memory field, I do that all the time. The thing about the gaze, I have been studying the gaze recently because I feel like it was really, really something there when it comes to our gaze, and I don't really fully understand it in the way that I did. Okay. Or I need to. I also like the thing with the animals too. Like animals are our companions, so I really like that. I don't think the disclosure is gonna have to do with aliens. I think it more so has to do with us speaking up more and speaking our truth. Will we eventually phase into a time where we see other beings again? Absolutely, but we have to be able to hold that much light again because we fell low, right? And so now it's about raising our vibration, raising our frequency, allowing ourselves to take in more truth, take in more light. And as we start taking in more light, It's like we unbury ourselves in a way, because right now we are the living dead. We are buried. We got to come back up out of that, and part of that is working with Earth's energy, because Earth is what stabilizes you. Earth is your body. Hoodoo is African American. Um, Hoodoo is a branch of Voodoo. Hoodoo and Voodoo are both branches of Voodoo, which is a African American spirituality. And then when the transatlantic slave was happening, like we kind of broke off into our own branches based off of, because like families do hoodoo different. Like there's no one hoodoo, there's no one voodoo. Everybody has their own spiritual practices within their family dynamics, and so it's different ways to do different things. So I just want to say that. But hoodoo is more like kitchen, like what you would consider like a kitchen witch. They work with roots, they work with herbs, they work with like me, turmeric is up here, cayenne pepper's up here, pepper is up here, got some ginger, got some red, so it's more like healers, I would say, is more like hoodoo. But also they root workers and they conjure workers. Okay. Conjure is working with the crossroads, working with the thresholds, working with spirits, petitioning spirits, things like that. So hoodoo, root work, all of that falls underneath hoodoo. Sorry, not hoodoo. Root work and conjure work can fall under hoodoo. Voodoo is a specific type of hoodoo or voodoo that was created around New Orleans. Okay, specific to New Orleans. Okay. And then witchcraft is Wicca, which is European, Celtic. But witchcraft comes from Wiccan, and it comes from the word Wicca, and Wicca just means wise woman. And so it's what they used to call you don't separate from your lower self, you integrate your lower self. If you think in the process of separating, you're thinking from a place of it being something wrong with your lower self. Your lower self is very much so necessary. And so you can't separate yourself. Hold on. What did you say? A death of your ego has to happen for you to separate yourself from the lower self of yourself and find the truth that we all run and hide from. Then integrate yourself into all of who you are and be. Oh, okay. Okay. Um, okay, dang. That's sad to hear that I thought we were ascending. Well, ascension is descension. We're embodying, and we are, some of us. So I think we got to stop thinking so linearly, like either we're doing it or we're not doing it. It's not black and white like that. Everything is like a spiral that we're moving on. Even us being like the Walking Dead, especially these mixed blood bodies. Even as, okay, I don't know what you mean by that, because what do you mean by mixed blood? Because if you're talking about white people are star beings. They're more star than they are earth. We're more earth than we are star. But we all have souls. Are there NPC, android, soulless beings walking around? Yes. But don't categorize that whole group, because that's not true. I just left New Orleans Monday. It's not hierarchy in the way that we think hierarchy is, like, are we more spiritually inclined in this reality? Absolutely, because we have more melanin. Melanin is Earth's energy. We are more connected to Earth and her magnetic field, and so we are more connected to God and source energy of this place. They are more connected to the stars because they were seeded for specific experiments. But the difference between their body and our body is that a lot of their bodies were created to be more mental focused, but that's not all of them, because there were a lot of different star races that were doing a lot of different things, and so not every single body is mentally focused. That is a white body, and either way, we're star and we're matter. All of us. I think the powers that are playing behind the scenes are very much so trying to keep us separate, because if we fighting amongst each other and we got a scapegoat. We got somebody that we can blame something on, which is spiritual bypassing, by the way. We got somebody we can blame. It can keep us stuck in a low level of consciousness. You know, um, Haitian and New Orleans have voodoo in common, but even then, they are different. Yes. Yep. My mom thinks my family is cursed, has said it our lives. You need to unpack that, because whatever your parents condition you to believe on a subconscious level, even if you don't believe it, it's there. So you need to unpack that, because that could be the fear. Um, Hold on. As in the fact we were forced to become part of their bloodline. Oh, I get what you're saying. Yeah. Well, the thing about it was that was always a part of the plan. That was always going to become a thing. It's a part of Earth's natural evolutionary cycle, because we needed hybrid bodies, because hybrid bodies can hold more light, right? We needed hybrid bodies. And so a lot of us are hybrid energy, and we're holding like 4+ energies in one body, and so it was actually meant to happen that way, even though it seems like it was a bad thing because of where we are now. It's karma just playing itself out. Yeah, I heard that copper is good for us, so I've taken all this knowledge. Yeah, copper is Venus energy. Thoughts on RH blood, O negative blood type. RH blood is, I believe, reptilian blood, if I'm not mistaken. That's the blood that tends to like reject. Or are you talking about universal blood, which is O negative? So now whatever they are connected to, we are. Not necessarily. It don't work like that. Oh, that's so beautiful. More mixed are happening. Yeah, it's because we're moving up in evolutionary cycles. And we've mixed so much, but a lot of the mixing had to do with us needing hybrid bodies so that we can kind of correct what has happened in a way. I'm not going to say correct, but continue to evolve from the place that we went to. Um, the whole thing just crashed. Yes, universal, but RH negative. Is RH universal though? I thought it was just O negative that was universal. Universal. Yeah, RH is reptilian blood. And we were. I feel like in a way they're trying to make this. Well, no, they're trying to survive, baby. They're trying to survive. They're trying to make sure that they DNA survives. Because we are the dominant race. And again, melanin. The more melanin you have, the more likely you are to survive here, because melanin actually doesn't fragment in the same way that not having melanin fragments. And a melanin kit is a transducer of the sun's light. So when the sun hits us, we're able to alchemize the sun's energy. Whereas if you have a lack of melanin, you won't be able to do that. You're just going to burn. Right. And so a lot of them are trying to preserve their lineage. And that's the mixing, because they know who we are. We are the original blueprint. They know who we are, but yeah. Crazy, because I've been shamed for being dark skinned my whole life. Yes, because they need you to have self-worth issues. Because the only way to fragment you is if you fragment yourself. All right. I gotta go do protection work. Actually, I already did it before I got on here. Let's talk about the blood types real quick though, because I talked about this when I did my Atlantis series. I just gotta figure out what episode it was to go back to it. Because I talked about this in deep detail in that episode. Hold on, y'all. Oh, blood types and bloodlines. Okay, let's talk about it. All right, so bloodlines. So what I wrote down is bloodlines really matter, but not how we were taught. Some are not better than others, or that there's a hierarchy. Like there is no hierarchy. It because it's not about dominance, it's about resonance, it's about remembrance, it's about restoration, right? And so um blood is really is a liquid archive. It is what stores the memory, right? And so one thing you got to understand about earth is that earth is a living library. And we are here to kind of breathe that library back into existence. And so we are supposed to be feeling energy because there are things that are unconscious in earth's subconscious and earth's unconscious, and we are the point where spirit and matter meets. And so we can bring it back into conscious awareness, right? Through what we discovered, through what we learned through the spirits and things like that, right? And so we're supposed to be helping to dream this library back into existence. And there's a lot of beings across every single galaxy. Every being in every creation has brought their memory here to Earth because Earth is a living library, right? The Akashic records are here. There's libraries underneath the mountains. There's all kind of shit, right? And so what you got to understand about being of earth and having melanin is you store that information in your body too. So the reason why they kill black people all the time is because the history lives inside of you. The reason why they always trying to tell you to shut up, to be seen and not heard, the reason why they tried to, all of that is because the fight is between people who remember and people who forget. We have natural remembrance in our body because of our blood is directly connected to earth. And earth is the living library, right? And so it's a liquid archive of ancestral memory, of earth contracts, of elemental agreements, and of flame codes, right? And we've been coded for this. So our blood is a scroll, and it tells the earth who you are even when your mind forgets who you are, right? And so there are certain flame lines that were hidden in bloodlines around the earth because when Atlantis was falling, they knew that there would be a time when earth resonance would rise enough to start activating people into a remembrance. So they hid the codes in very dense bloodlines for the ones who will remember, which are what they call the flame bearers, right? And I'm writing a book about this. My mythical realism book is going to be kind of like about this. So all of y'all who have like a lot of trauma, a lot of suffering, black people, is hidden in your lineage. And so you're really there to get the codes, to reactivate the codes, but you got to do the healing part of it, which is really about you increasing your capacity and becoming the person you actually want to be, you know? And so bloodlines carry keys to sacred sites, language, and rituals, because we actually, when we knew that we were going to fall, we programmed this whole entire place. So the reason why everything here has consciousness, even this crystal, even this lighter, is because we programmed all that shit. Yeah, we programmed all that shit for the time that we will remember, right? And so it's also encoded with memory of oversoul fragments and divine flame lineages, wounds and protections that were installed to guard sacred knowledge, meaning like some of the shit that y'all go through in y'all ancestral line was to keep this shit hidden. And that's why you got to pay reverence to your ancestors, even if you don't fucking understand them. You have to pay reverence to them because a lot of times they hid shit for you. They had to be that person because that was what needed to be done to keep these codes sacred, to keep these codes hidden until earth was ready again. You know, so a lot of the shit that they went through, a lot of the shit that they sacrificed, a lot of that shit was because so that you could be this person. So because earth is ready now. And so a lot of the shit they did was so that you can continue on as this person. Okay. But also anchors as well. Bloodlines chose to ground off-world frequencies as well. And so some of us hold ancient things, some of us hold things that exist outside of time, like some of us hold different things. And so many ancient spiritual systems tracked bloodlines through the mother, not for power, but for portal access, because some of us can open up portals. I was in a dream one time, and these two beings, we was in a temple, right? And we got to a part of the temple where the temple was outside, and half of it was like a slab of crystal. The other half of it was like this, it kind of remind me of that material when you go into like, when you take your kids into those places that they create for kids where they kind of can jump around, and they got that like soft, foamy ground. So if they fall, they don't get hurt. It kind of was like that, right? But more concrete, but it had like a buoyancy to it in some way. And they was trying to get me to step onto the crystal side of it. And I knew that if I stepped onto that side, I was going to give them access to a portal that they didn't have no fucking business having access to. And so one of my spirit guides, Matumbu, who is the guardian of free will and sovereignty, showed up and kicked their motherfucking ass, period. And I got the fuck away. So a lot of us have portal access to these stargates they trying to open, like all kind of shit. And so many bloodlines are active on Earth right now. There are a lot of ways to count this, but roughly there are about 12 to 36 primary flame bloodlines still active in human form. And that means that they hold original oversoul architecture. They carry planetary restoration roles, and they still echo through people who are awake, who are awakening those codes now. And that's why you got to heal. That's why you got to grow. That's why you got to evolve. That's why you got to create a safe environment so you can embody your light. And so there's solar flame lines, which usually carry, they're carried through the masculine coded mission. So logic, lineage, law, and leadership. There's lunar flame lines, which carry the feminine coded memory, which is womb, water, grief, song, dreams. There's elemental and guardian lines as well. And it's going to be like the dragons, the dolphins, the tree keepers, the sun lions. Because there are beings that come out of the sun, because the sun is a portal. And so these are not always genetic. They're often spiritual adaptations through vows, temples, or oversoul roles. Some of us have vows that we made with dragons. And so when we activate our kundalini energy, sometimes as a medium, I will see a dragon hanging out y'all spine. And it's because you created some type of covenant with them. And so the elementals and the guardian lines, they appear on our etheric body. So it seems like your chakra system body. And so there's star blood as well, which are going to be the hybrid lineages seated with the interdimensional DNA. This is Syria, Lyra, Orion. A lot of us are the Atlanteans. And the reason why we're the Atlanteans is because we are the Lyrans. The Lyrans came into Lemuria and Atlantis because they were trying to fix what was broken through the polarity experiments. And so a lot of us were seated here as Atlanteans because we were trying to stop us from falling from a deeper, like falling low. And that's why the dolphins and the orcas are here too, because they're swim across the song lines at the bottom of the ocean to keep us at a specific frequency so that we can't drop lower than a specific frequency. There's also serpent line holders who hold like deep earth knowledge. Sometimes this has been distorted by colonization, by the way. But there's rose lineages, carriers of divine feminine resurrection codes, often persecuted. The rose lineages is Mary Magdalene. She was a part of the rose lineages. Shadow lines, souls born into bloodlines with karmic distortion to purify or to release it. Again, a lot of people are part of the shadow lines as well. That's why I be telling y'all, some of y'all are shadow walkers. And y'all, what y'all think is punishment is y'all fucking initiation. All right, as a shadow walker myself. Okay, you were meant to go through the dark so that you can find your way back to the light, or you could be the light in the dark, right? And so and then there's veiled lines. Veiled lines are lineages whose power was cloaked until specific souls remembered it again. My line is a veiled line. Bloodlines are the root system of the oversoul tree. They are how memory travels, how timelines stay anchored, and how flames return through form. And you don't heal your ancestral line, you just reawaken it. Like, it does not need to be healed. It's about you. Yes, shadow walkers absolutely trigger people. Like, it's always like people rejecting y'all for some reason. Or rejected us for some reason. But it's because our presence is enough to cause disruption. Our light is enough to cause a disruption, you know? And so it's through what we embody. So your blood is not random. It's a physical signature of how your soul chose the anchor density. So let's talk about the blood types. There are 4 main blood types, and then we'll talk about the RH. So there's type O, and then this is a primordial blood. It's tied to the original earth humans. It's adaptable, it's strong, it's instinctual. These are the people who are supposed to be the grid workers, meaning like you might be called to different lands. And the reason why you called to different lands is because you meant to activate something. And what we don't realize is our presence is enough. We were taught through patriarchy that we can only get things through effort. No, your presence does all the fucking work for you when you embody your truth, right? And so these are the grid keepers. These are the earth guardians. These are the physical protectors. That's type O blood. Type A blood is sensitive and is structured. It's harmony, order, and empathy. Is often found in the healers and the harmonizers, right? And so these are the heart keepers. These are the people who are coded with Sarah, which is myself, and ritualist as well, okay? I was talking about O, and then I talked about A. Now, B is dual natured. It carries both ancient roots and newer codes. It's often bridge walkers or the mystics. These are seers, alchemists, and Activators. Okay. And then there's AB. AB is a hybrid line. It holds encoded memory from multiple lineages, and it often holds multidimensional gifts. And so these are flame weavers, the people who can weave things together, gatekeepers and memory carriers. Okay, I'm gonna go back. O is primordial, is tied to the original Earth humans. It's adaptable, strong, and instinctual. These are the grid workers, the Earth guardians, and the physical protectors. Okay. Your blood type reveals how your oversoul chose to interact with Earth's frequencies. Some types will be better at grounding, others are better at receiving cosmic currents. And that's what I mean between black melanated bodies and bodies that lack melanin, because everybody has melanin. The only way for you to be on Earth if it's melanin in that body, because melanin is Earth's energy, right? But there are star beings here as well, and a lot of white people are star beings. But because some of their bodies were made mental, they can be hijacked by some of these predatory spirits. So even when they do shit, like sometimes it's not them doing the shit, which is, it's hard to conceptualize. And I feel like I'm making excuses for white people and they bullshit, but I'm not. I need y'all to know that I'm not. But this is what I'm learning. And so let's talk about RH, because somebody asked about RH. The RH factor refers to whether or not you carry the protein in your blood. RH plus is earth linked, and these are lineage stabilizers. RH negative are non-native origin. Okay, they have a non-native origin, often found in star seeds, off-world incarnates, or hidden bloodlines. Okay, people with RH negative blood tend to feel out of place in Earth society, sensitive to temperature, electronics, or even unseen forces. They're drawn to ancient knowledge, forbidden memory, and oversoul activation. This blood type is not superior. It just means that the vessel was built to house high frequency input that can short circuit other bodies. Okay. So I asked Spirit what was the purest blood. And they said spiritual purity is not a status. It's more so about clarity of signal than what is purest, if that makes sense. So souls who resonate more clearly with their oversoul mission versus the ones who are uncorrupted by genetic manipulation or ancestral distortion. Okay. So O negative, because it's the oldest, is the universal donor and deeply earth anchored. AB negative, because it's so these are like the hierarchy. It's not a hierarchy because there is no hierarchy. Okay. But if you had to rank something, this is how Spirit would rank it. O negative, because it's the oldest, universal donor, and deeply earth anchored. AB negative, because it's the rarest, multi-lineage coded and multi-dimensional bridge. Both of these are often linked to ancient bloodlines that carry sacred memory, including the Essenes, the Comedans, the Mu, and the star lineages. So your blood type is the key. And if you have RH factor, it is the gate. So you don't carry blood, you carry memory and motion, and every cell in your body is singing a song your oversoul came to return to. Okay. So that's what you need to know about blood. Okay. But not only that, it is your literal fucking gold. Okay. We used to return our menses to the earth. Why? Because it tells the earth what we need. Okay. When you return your menses to earth, earth can now help you. Why? Because you're giving life force back to her. You're paying reverence to her. You didn't create anything with her energy. Give it back to her. Pay reverence to her, and she will help you with your gifts. She'll help you connect with your ancestors. She'll help you understand your truth. She'll help you with everything. Okay. But you can also take it, put half of it in a water bottle, fill it up with water so that you have more of it. You can take it and spray your plants with it. Okay. You can use it in your rituals over the month until the cycle comes again, because we don't realize we about to actually, we're going through a change. And the change is going to look like that we will only be able to create once a year. And the reason why, meaning like we'll only have a cycle once a year. The reason why that's happening is because we've overpopulated the earth. We've overpopulated the earth. And so we're going to go through a cycle where we don't need to eat as much anymore, is what they was telling us. We don't need to eat as much as more. And then we're only going to produce menses once a year. I don't think that's a good thing. I think the only reason why we feel like it's a good thing is because we spend so much time hating our period, feeling like it's shameful, when that's the most potent time of the month for you. It is when you are the most fucking magical. It is when you can get shit done and manifest things into reality for you. You know? So it's not a that's not a good thing for us, because then we only have access to that once a year, and we have to make whatever that is last for a whole year to do work, unless you use urine. You can use urine though. Now, how do I do this spiritual bath? LO, I have multiple vivid dreams. Tell me something is on me. Black walnut. Black walnut. Okay. Wormwood. Get you some water. Boil this in the water. Will the water turn black? Yes. Okay. But boil it in the water 15-20 minutes. Strain it. Pour that pan of water into the tub, or you can pour it over yourself too, whatever you want to do. I would also add in some uncrossing or unhexing oil. You could add in, what would I do? If you have like psychic protection oil, if you have some clove oil, you can add in some clove too, like put some clove in. But that's what I would do. I would do wormwood and black walnut. Spiritual bath if you feel like something is on you. If it comes to, make sure you scrubbing your spine too, because every energetic or psychic connection is through your spine. And so if you don't trust somebody, don't ever turn your back to them, because you expose your energetic column to them. You don't want to do that. But that's what I would do. Okay, I gotta go because I need to do this protection work. And I've been on here 30 minutes longer than I needed to be. Love ya. See you later. This will be on my YouTube as well. Oh, damn. YouTube, have y'all been able to see me? Can somebody tell me in the chat if y'all been able to see me this whole time? Because I was in another place for a second. Can anybody let me know before I hop off of here? Yes. Okay, cool. I was on another screen, so I even forgot that y'all was here. All right, y'all. I'm gone. I will continue on with my guided messages and stuff, or like the messages I'm getting from the Pleiadians and from the Divine Feminine. Yeah, as soon as I get off of here, it's gonna be on YouTube, because I'm on YouTube and TikTok at the same time. And so as soon as I get off of here, it'll be really, it's on YouTube right now. But I've been hopping on here to do the series of talking about the messages that I'm getting. And so today I just had a lot of shit going on, and it's my off day. I'm trying to learn how to rest, okay? Because your girl's been irritable because she has not been resting. And so, yeah. So I'll probably be on here tomorrow to kind of talk about that before I take my clients tomorrow. But yeah, I've been trying to get on Monday through Friday and just kind of like talk and all this stuff. But I'm not gonna lie, I've actually been really fucking tired lately. And I'm trying to get my energy back, because I think I spent a lot of time trying to save people, trying to help people, trying to heal people in these last 5 years, that I've like reached my capacity. And so I'm trying to build my energy back up a little bit too. All right. Because usually if I'm on live for like 3-4 hours. I don't got time for that. But anyways, I love y'all. I will talk to y'all later. This will be on YouTube right after this. My YouTube is www.big. No. My YouTube is BIGTAJJ. If y'all looking for service, I do animal communication. I do human design or oversoul design readings, which is going to tell you like how the energy of your oversoul, sorry, that just blew me. How the energy in your body works, all of those things. I also do consultations and divinations, meet and greets, all those things. Okay. Love y'all. Talk to y'all later.